I'd like to welcome everybody to this exclusive presentation of the GIF ventilated ceilings. Phoenix Innovative Commercial Kitchen Solutions, managed by Jacques Morin, has been trading in Australia since 2008 and has been an allied member for most of that time. Along the journey, Jacques and I have had many adventures. In a normal year, we would be meeting at trade shows in-house or doing in-house demonstrations within his show kitchen to view their products. However, this has not been possible due to COVID. So to provide our allied members with the chance to participate in a series of exclusive webinars to get their products in front of consultants, customers and decision makers, the FCSI has been offering this as an alternative platform. So I've known Jacques for a long while now, and we met prior to him actually starting Phoenix. He has a serious passion for the industry and a rich history and knowledge base from his years back home in France, where he worked for many of the manufacturers that he represents today. Phoenix represents a selection of specialist high-end commercial kitchen equipment, brands such as Adventus, Bronner, Kaplan, MKN, Vaucanson, Taurus Stainless Steel, and of course, the focus of today's presentation, GIF ventilated ceilings. I'd like to introduce you all to Jacques Morin, MD of Phoenix. Good afternoon, Jacques. How are you?
Good afternoon, Andrew. Thank you for the very kind words and introduction. I'm very well, thank you. It's a great opportunity offered to me by the FCSI and yourself. So, yeah, very glad to be here.
Great. Today we're talking about the GIF ventilated ceiling, something not a lot of people would be that familiar with. Tell us a little bit about Phoenix and how ventilated ceilings fit in.
Yeah, yeah, with pleasure. So we are represented GIF since the start of Phoenix in 2008, but GIF is actually a 45 years old company based in Freiburg, and they specialized into ventilated ceilings. So that's the only thing they do. They don't do hoods, don't do canopies, really only ceilings. Here in Australia, since we started working with them, we have done about 20 projects, I would say. And these projects are very diverse, so these references are very diverse. They can be hospitals, restaurants, schools, universities. So there is a lot of different applications of a ventilated ceiling. And here in Australia, the ventilated ceiling is now part of the Australian standard. That was one of the first questions that I'm usually asked. Is it according to the Australian standard? So yes, it is since 2012.
Fantastic. Great to understand that it's accepted by the Australian standards. What does a ventilated ceiling look like?
So here it is. So let me show you a typical picture of what a ventilated ceiling looks like. So the first thing you can notice, it's a wall-to-wall solution. So we're not only covering above the cooking appliances, but we can cover the full area of the kitchen, which and in which we integrate lightings, but as well all the accessories that are necessary into a food production kitchen. So exit lights, fire suppression system, loudspeakers, heat detectors, all that can be integrated into the ceiling.
Most of us here, Jacques, are either designers or consultants. Let's have a look at some drawings to get a better understanding.
Yes, absolutely. So here's one of our latest reference. It's pretty typical of ventilated ceiling design. It's for a school in Brisbane, so a teaching kitchen. So a lot of you may not know, but in teaching school, ventilated ceiling has a lot of advantages because it's a flat ceiling, so you don't have the hoods above each cooking area. It's less noisy, so it's a lot better for the teachers to be able to speak. And as you don't have these hanging boxes, the teacher as well can see. So we've seen, we've done few schools now all over the country. So in terms of concept, it's you see here pretty rectangle area where you see in orange and yellow different areas. So for the customer or for the user, it doesn't make any difference if it's supply or exhaust. But inside, we've got partitions and we show supply and exhaust. So really the ventilated ceiling integrates everything. As consultant, you can see in the drawing, we give the air volume that we need in supply, in exhaust. We do proposal of where the duct mouth should be, and even the dimensions of the duct mouth. It is just an advice, but that really gives to the mechanical engineer or the kitchen consultant all the information he needs for the project.
So yeah, you're starting to touch on there the fact that there's exhaust and that there's supply air.
Yep.
How does it work?
Yeah, so here's a few drawings of how the concept works. So basically, we can work directly from the concrete soffit. So installation is pretty simple. If there are too many services in the exhaust area, then we can do a secondary ceiling. So it's really modular, easy to install directly from the concrete. And within the areas, we do partitions so that you can see on your screen. In the corridors or the prep area in blue, you've got the supply air. And where the cooking areas are, where the cooking equipment is, we create extract air areas. And you can see that on another drawing. Same type of configuration. So one of the advantage of a ventilated ceiling, and I can say we won some projects because of this, is that we only need 200 to 250 millimeter between the soffit and our ceiling. So in some heritage buildings and some specific configuration, it was either a ventilated ceiling or no kitchen at all.
Yeah, and we've had that experience a couple of times.
Yes, absolutely. But let me show you this in a short video to really explain a bit more how this works. So here it is. So I will comment. It's silent. There is no music or no comments. So I will be the commenting. So you see here again a rendering of a pretty typical kitchen, and we'll go above. So here you see from above, you've got your fans and you've got your ductwork. The blue air is symbolizing the fresh air. So we bring fresh air in the area as a supply. One of the good things of ventilated ceiling compared to traditional hoods is that we all know in kitchens, when you've got hoods, you've got draft in your neck when you're a chef all the time. As we work on big areas and very low velocity, there is no draft. it's very comfortable working environment. And now you see the pressure chamber has been filled with supply air or fresh air, and it's gently falling down around the cooking areas, around the staff.
And that would be tempered by the mechanical engineer.
Yeah, absolutely. We just ask for the good volume to arrive and the right speed. I mentioned low velocity. We work at 3 meters per second at the duct mouth, which is very, very low. That means that in the cavity, next to the cassettes, you would have less than 1 meter per second. So it's very low velocity system.
Very efficient.
So you see here the cooking. Heat is created with smoke and grease and fat, and the cassettes are separating. You see there in these small canisters, the grease and the deposit staying. It then goes up and be extracted through the fan. So we're going to go a bit more in details on how this system works and how the separation happens, but that's basically the principle, principle of it.
So how do those filters actually work?
90% of the GIF sealing is made of this active cassette, what we call active cassette. They are made of stainless steel. They've got a very, very specific shape. And these simple cassettes can be either supply or extract. So they can be in the supply area one day, in the extract area another day. And so in a case of a extraction situation, we see that here. So you've got these canisters that get the grease, 97% separation efficiency with these cassettes. And now your first question, your question will be, what about the 3% remaining? Oh, so the 3% remaining, as we work on a very low velocity, you see that these remaining % of grease are in fact depositing naturally on the back side of the cassette before arriving to the ductwork. And you see that very simply when you clean the cassettes, you get the cassettes out and you see this film of grease on the back side of the cassette. That's the remaining of this grease that wasn't separated in the first place.
I know in some cases, Jacques, there's a possibility of putting UV up in those ceilings.
Absolutely. So UV can be integrated. We here locally we work with Eco Canopy with their UV system. So when we ask to integrate UV, we work in good harmony with Eco that has got a good UV system, and it can be absolutely integrated into the ceiling. But as much as fire suppression system, Onsul, Piranha, different systems can be integrated into the ceiling. Now, if we speak about supply, again, simple solution. These cassettes can be extract or supply in the supply air. That's the way it operates. We push fresh air through the cassettes and it goes down gently inside the supply air area without draft.
That's quite simple.
Quite simple. So we adapt our system to the different kitchens, to the different building, to the different shape of the kitchens, and where the appliances are installed. So in addition of this simple system, we as well have concave, what we call restaurant system that are used in a more heavy duty area. We've got as well heavy duty cassettes, that again can be used in a case of a lot of deep fat fryers, this type of thing. But the principle is exactly the same.
So that's providing like a concave area within the ceiling to capture those fumes.
Exactly. That brings a bigger capture area and heavy-duty cassette. And this heavy-duty cassette can absorb 8 times more grease and fat than normal cassettes. So that's what, and again, we adapt the system to the situation and to the needs of each project. So you see here other areas when it's against the wall. And I just on the side note, you see here the different lighting. So you've got LED profile, LED spotlights. We have a lot of different lighting that are integrated into the system. Let me show you this.
I think with lighting too, Jacques, you often have in show kitchens interior designers that have specific lighting requirements to
Absolutely.
create the ambience of that room. So that would be a very good advantage here.
Absolutely, because the standard lighting that we saw in the previous example that I showed are the either fluorescent or LED lighting box, but a lot of designers don't find that very aesthetic, and in open kitchen you can understand that they're wary of what the end user and what the customer will see. So we have our own LED profiles that can be integrated into the profile itself. You see that here on the side, but it can be LED downlights, it can be cluster downlights. So again, modular system that can be adapted to what the customer wants, what the architects wants, what the interior designer wish. One thing that I can mention, I think it's in Hobart, we even done a show kitchen where we powder coated the cassettes in black. So that was pretty unique. We've done that with GIF, and that's another advantage. In that case, the interior designer didn't want to see stainless steel. We did powder coating.
Yeah, I suspect that would then make the ceiling virtually disappear, and all you're left with is the lighting.
Yeah, exactly. So we all know we're speaking about extract and extraction. One of the fear of any restaurant owner, and as a consequence, consultants are fire inside a kitchen. And so again, GIF sealing has got a very good record. We've done tests on fire resistance on this, and I can show you this, and we've got a short video as well. But basically, the tests that have been done in GIF's premises showed that we could have, in case of fire, about 700 degrees in a deep fat fryer. Inside the ceiling of the distance and the barrier of stainless steel, we were down to 110 already inside the ceiling, the soffit area. And near the spigot, we were at about 80. So there is no...
One of the questions we get asked a lot is, how do you prevent the asset and the services within that ceiling from catching on fire? And in this case here, it clearly shows that you're eliminating the chance of the fire transferring and also reducing that temperature within the ceiling.
Absolutely. So that means that, in fact, there is no flashover. And in the video that I'm showing you now, you will see the huge amount of smoke. So first, the smoke, because again, larger areas of capture, the nocive and poisonous smoke are absorbed, And you see here, the flames are direct contact to the stainless steel. And to gain this certificate that GIF has won, they had to leave these flames in direct contact with the cassettes for 20 minutes. At no point, flames could go through. So there is this, the shape of the cassettes make a complete fire barrier to the flames.
So I suspect it would be quite hard to pull apart one of these ceilings. How do you clean it?
No, in fact, it's again, it is a simple, very, very simple system. We all know, and we all seen that, you know, we are consultant, we importers, but we foodies, we go in restaurants and we see the end of the service when it's an open kitchen, and we see chef climbing on the cooking equipment to get the in the hood, in the canopy to be able to clean. We all seen that.
Yeah.
So with the ventilated ceiling, it's a different way. And let me show you how that happens. I will stop music this time. So basically, the system is these cassettes are lined up into a profile, and they are 50 by 50 centimeters. So you get them out. It's a push and pull system. You can remove them from any point. With one ladder, you can empty 20 square meters. So you see, you unscrew them. Sorry, not unscrew, untie them. And then this young woman will pull the cassettes out inside the profile, get them down pretty easily. It slides inside the profile. So basically, you don't have to climb on the cooking equipment. Nice brand, nice German brand of dishwasher. Not mentioning my friend from Michael. And and there you go. You put the cassettes in your flight dishwasher.
I suppose too, being the size of a standard basket, they could go through any dishwasher that took a 500 by 500 basket.
Yeah. So, and now you see the cassette being cleaned. Just get the water out and we go back in there. So 90% of the ceiling is fully active and can be completely dismounted. That means that it's easy to take out, it's easy to clean, push and pull, and you can easily inspect what's in the ceiling void. There you go. You don't need any grid, you don't need any tools, just goes naturally back into the profile. So now one question maybe, how often do you clean? It really depends on the type of cooking that they do. What we usually recommend is that they would do one row a week, let's say, or in the exhaust area. In the supply air, you can get the cassettes out once a year, once every 6 months, because there will be no grease in there. But in the exhaust area, you do one row a week, one every 2 weeks, again, depending on what type of cooking you do.
I suppose the operators would figure that out as they develop in their the kitchen.
Absolutely. In fact, what's happening is that you've seen, if you remember the shape of the of the cassettes and these small canisters, they will be filled in with grease, and down the track, they will be full and avoid the air to go through. And that's where you can start to see the grease staying on the backside of the cassette. And that means the cassette saying to the operator, clean me.
Start to clean, yeah.
Okay, and as I mentioned, here is I think a perfect example of a ventilated ceiling. That happened after 18 years. You see how clean it is?
It looks like it's brand new before it's installed.
18 years. And directly from the soffit, you see here it's painted in white. We advise the customer to paint in white so that he can control easily if there is a leak, if something is wrong. But you see there, a big part of GIF ceiling in Europe, because they've been in business for 45 years, about 30% of their business now is renovation. Because the other advantage of the ceiling is that all these profiles, you renovate the kitchen after 15 or 20 years. You get all the cassettes out, you move the partitions, you keep the profiles, you move the partitions according to the new design of the kitchen, and basically put the cassettes in.
So you're just rearranging where you're
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's about 30% of their business now in Germany. We're not there yet in Australia because we started only 13 years ago, but that's now a big part of their business is renovation of existing ceiling to dismount, clean the cassette, review the ones that are damaged, and put it back together.
Interesting.
So just showing you there to finish some references that were done. So that's food production here in more open kitchen, where you see the LED profile. That was an innovation some years ago, and that really for open kitchens. We've got a few that will be opening soon with this profile. That's really stunning.
So I know that's a lot of information for our listeners. Time to summarize, Jacques.
Just to summarize, few advantages of the GIF ceiling. It's sustainable. It uses less air, less energy consumption, and it can be reused after a long period of time for renovation. It is more comfortable for the staff. You've got no draft, and as we use less air, it's less noisy. It's safe, it's fireproof. We had it tested. It's easy to clean and easy to maintain. You don't need to have the staff climbing on cooking equipment, or you don't need to ask someone to clean the cassettes outside. It can be done on site. It can be a rescue solution. We have seen that in Australia. Desperate situation, low height, with a 200 installation height, we can extract in areas where nobody else could. And finally, for designers, aesthetically seen, it's flat. You've got not this box hanging over cooking appliances, and with the different types of lightings and so on, we really can adapt to the needs of the kitchen. References just there, just to show some of the references: school, universities, restaurants, hospitals, and hotels. I know consultants are around there. You will see some of your projects there. So I just finished with thanking you again. Thank you, the FCSI, for the opportunity. thank you all for the time and your attention.
Not a problem. That's like I said, very informative, and I hope that our audience has become a bit more familiar with what a ventilated ceiling does and where it's applicable. Please disregard that QR code where it's a link to a questionnaire. I don't think we've updated that since our last presentation, where it probably takes you to a questionnaire about something that's not necessarily relevant to this. Okay, so we could probably wrap it up there. You've got Jacques' email address in the chat and his mobile phone number. So no doubt this will have sparked a lot of questions, and you might be working on a project sometime next year and think, I actually want to know more about that. Go to Jacques as your first choice, and also support Jacques as being an allied member of the FCSI. So thank you very much for attending, and hope to actually see you live, having some live gatherings, live gigs, sharing some drinks, and thank you for coming.